Hello students, this is a continuation of 11.2 arithmetic and geometric sequences. This is going to be on page 139 for regular classes, and I believe it is 151 for SM1 honors classes. So we're going to identify the type of sequence, write the letter into the table. So we have a table down here below. So this says arithmetic. This one is geometric, and this is neither. So we're going to find out what is happening in each of these and put the letter. If A is arithmetic, I'd put it here. If it's geometric, I put it here. If it's neither, I put it there. Okay? And some of you may say neither rather than neither, and that's fine. Okay? So first, let's see what's happening here. 40 goes to 45, 45 to 50, 50 to 55. Hopefully you can see that what is happening each time? Oh, we are adding 5 each time. So if we add 5 each time, it's going to be arithmetic, because here you could put add and subtract. Okay? So I am going to put A right in here because we are adding right up here plus 5. Okay, now we go to B and we go 1. Okay, let's see if it's going to be adding or subtracting. 1 subtract a half is a half. If I subtract a half from a half, I should get 0. So I didn't get that, so it can't be arithmetic, because again, it would be add or subtract. If it was geometric, you would have to multiply or divide by the same number. And when we divide, we have to turn it into a fraction because we need everything to be multiplied. And just like arithmetic, everything needs to be add. Even if you add a negative, that's like subtraction. Going back up here, if I go 1 times, what would I multiply 1 by to get 1/2? Okay, so here's your handy dandy calculator. So I go 1 times 1, ABC2. 1 times a half gives you a half. So then I'm going to times it by a half again. 1, ABC2. And I get 1/4. Yep, that works. And then I'm going to times it one more time by half, and I get 1/8. So that means it is going to be, everything is multiplied by 1/2. So if I multiply by a half, it's going to have to be geometric. So I'm going to put B for geometric. Okay. Now, if it goes to plan, AB, do you think C should go under neither? Let's find out on C. Okay. First, let's see if it's add or subtract. And now if you enter decimals and stuff and you're not sure, like this one was easy because it was add 5. Here, you're like, oh man, I don't know what to add to 6.5. Well, let's just take the second term and subtract the first. So if I go 8.3 minus 6.5, what do I get? Plus 1.8. Let's see if I add, if the next one is the same. If I go 10.1 minus 8.3, do I get this same number? 1.8 again. 11.9 minus 10.1. So we add 1.8 each time. So I'm going to go add 1.8. So again, if it's add or subtract, it's going to be arithmetic. So I'm going to put C right there for arithmetic right there. Okay. Now I'm going to look at this one. If I say 1 to 4, what did I do? I added 3. 4 to 9, I add 5. 9 to 16, I add 7. Those are different numbers, so it will not be arithmetic. Arithmetic. Next, we're going to see if it's geometric. To go from 1 to 4, I times by 4. 4 to 9, I have to times by, well, not 4, because if I multiplied by 4, it'd be 16. So you'd have to multiply 4 by something weird to get 9. Would that be 9/4? Either way, it's a different number, so it would not be geometric either. So then, if you can't think of anything, you can be like, okay, I'm adding different ones and multiplying different ones, so I know it's got to be neither. And I put D over there. Okay, then I look at E and I say, what is happening between here? add 4. What is happening here? Add 4. So we see for E, we're going to be adding 4 each time. So if we add 4, we put it there. Okay. Now we look over here and we go -3 to 6 to -6. That'd be like adding -3. So if I add -3 again to -6, it should be -9. And that is not -9. So we know it is not arithmetic because we're not adding the same number each time. Let's try multiplication. So we know this doesn't work. -3 times what is -6? It would be times 2. Okay, -6 times 2 is -12. -12 times 2 is -24. So yes, all of those are multiplied by the same thing. So then we could say it's a geometric sequence, and I can put F right there. Okay. All right, do you think you can do the next 3? I'm going to let you do the next 3, and then we'll talk about it in class. Next, we're going to go ahead and go on to the next page. So page 140 or 152, depending on what class you're on. Okay. Actually, I guess it's not the next page. It's the bottom of page 139 and page 151. Okay. To determine the pattern of a sequence, ask, is the same number blank each time? And you want to see if the same number is added or subtracted. So I'm going to put add or subtracted each time. If yes, it's arithmetic. Okay. Then you ask yourself, is the same number multiplied or divided each time? Again, if it's divided, you've got to convert that to multiplication. If yes, it's geometric. Okay. If neither one of these, it's neither. Okay. All right. Now we'll go on to the next page. Okay, and it says identify the first term and find the common difference. So even though it says difference, the D means what you're adding to it each time. If the sequence goes up, the D is positive. So you can think of add, the D is positive. If the sequence goes down, then D is negative. Okay, so here they're saying identify the first term, which is super easy. All you do is say, oh, what's the first term? A1. And that's going to be 5. See 5 right there. Okay. And how do you go from 5 to 8? Add 3. 8 to 11, add 3. 11 to 4, add 3. Now, we need to test each one of these because if this had been 15, then it wouldn't have been an arithmetic sequence. So the D here is 3. Because positive 3 is what you're adding each time. Okay? Now, we're going to go on to number 9. Again, A1. What is the first term in the sequence? 110. If they had asked what the second term was, then you could put 90. Okay? So what is happening each time 110 to 90? If you're not sure, you can take your handy-dandy calculator, take the second term 90, and go minus the first term. 110 minus 20. So that's you're adding a minus 20. So then we can say, is 90 minus 20 70? Yes. Is 70 minus 50 minus 20? And that answer is yes. So D, see how the numbers are going down? You're adding a negative number. So D is negative 20. Next, we're going to go on to number 12. And it has some tricky stuff with 3 halves, 0, negative 3 halves, negative 3. So again, it's like, oh, there's a bunch of fractions. I don't know. Well, A1 is easy. That's the first term, 3 halves. Okay. And the difference, oh, is it going down? Yes, 3 halves, 0, then negative, higher negative. So we take the second number, 0, and we go minus 3 ABC 2 equals negative 1.5. Okay, so that's what we're doing each time we minus negative 3 halves. So from 0 to negative 3 halves is still negative 3 halves. Then I'm going to take negative 3, 3 first, then negative, and we go minus 3 ABC halves negative equals 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to try that one more time. So I go 3 negative, and I go minus 3 ABC2 negative equals negative 1.5. Okay, so each time the difference, it's going down by negative 3 halves. Okay, oops. All right, now we're going to identify the first term and find the common ratio for these geometric sequences, okay? So identify the first term, easy peasy. So this one, negative 0.5. I'm going to do the same thing here. A1 is negative 2/3, and do the same one over here with A1 is 3. And actually, I wanted to do 16 first because that one's the easiest one, and then we'll work up to the harder ones. Okay, so 3, how do I get to 18? Well, on the ratio ones for geometric, we take the second term and we divide it by the first. So I go 18 divided by 3 equals 6. So I multiplied by 6. Now what I can do is just see if I get the other answers if I multiply by 6. So I'm going to take, and that's not a negative 6. It just means multiply by 6, the big dot. So we go 18 times 6 equals 108. Then we take 108. I'm trying to see where it's not in the light. Times 6. And do we get 648? Yep. So your common ratio over here would be 6. That's what we multiply by each time. And again, that's number 16. So I started with one of the easier ones. Now we're going to go back to number 13 here. We see this is negative 0.5. Now, what do we multiply that by? We can also think of it as negative 1/2. What do we multiply that to get negative 1? What do we multiply that to get negative 2? What do we multiply that to get negative 4? Sometimes it's not easiest to start with the first one. So we can go negative 1 times what is negative 2? Negative 2 times what is negative 4? And negative 2 times 2 is that negative 1. And we can all test it out on here. We go ABC 2. So that's 1/2 negative times 2. And that gives me negative 1. So each one of these would be multiplied by 2. So your common ratio is 2. Now, even though these numbers are negative, the common ratio is not negative. We multiply by 2 on each of these terms to get the next one. Okay? Now, last one here, I'm going to take negative 1/3 because I have no idea what you multiply that by to get negative 1/3. So I'm going to go take the second one, negative 1/3, and divide it by negative 2/3. Now, if you remember back in elementary school or even in middle school, you go negative 1/3 times, and I flip the second one, 3 over 2. Okay, and it's still negative. And I can cross cancel this, or I can go straight across and go 3/6, which equals 1/2. So 2/3 times 1/2 gives us negative 1/3. Now what I can do is take negative 1/3, 1 ABC 3 negative. See if I multiply that by 1/2 times 1 ABC 2, and do I get negative 1/6? Yep, that's there. So it's still multiplied by 1/2. So if I multiply negative 1/6 times 1/2, what will I get? Will I get negative 1/2? So I can take this, multiply it by 1 ABC 2, and I get negative 1/12. So then we know the common ratio here is times by 1/2. Okay? All right, students, you need to finish this page and go on to the next one, and make sure you finish all of it on page 139 or page 152. So page 139, 140, 141 if you're in SM1 regular, and page 151, I believe it is. Page 151 and 152 and 153 if you're in SM1 honors. Good luck, students. You rock.